Okay, I guess we're rolling. I've never done this before, so I just thought I'd see that the camera's on, the camera's working. Hi, everybody, anybody who's out there having a look, having a watch. A little nervous doing this. I've never done this before. Thanks for everybody who said happy birthday. That was really cool. Had a fun day. Haven't done a whole lot, just hanging out with Owen. And anyway, also today is the birthday of my very first book, Incunabulae. And so I just wanted to celebrate the book with you guys on my birthday. And maybe read a couple of the poems out of it. This book, Incunabulae, was only was a year in the making. It was August of 2016. A friend of mine, Gary Anderson, got a hold of me. I knew him at UVic 20 years ago or so, 96, around in there. I would have met him, and he contacted me, and he was looking for material because he had started up a new press, a small imprint called Run Amok Books, and wondered if I had anything, remembering back to our college time and the fact that I'd done these painted poems, and so I told him indeed I did have some of these poems, and it just took off from there. The book took shape pretty quickly. And just over the course of the year, through emails and file sharing, we were able to come up with this lovely, well-bound book for all you guys to enjoy. It's work of mine covering 25 years. The thing about the paintings like this that are poems, I started some of that back in the early 90s, and so there was really no way to do the book other than just have it be a retrospective, but it's basically unpublished material, never before published material, and I didn't plan on this publication happening. It's something I've dreamed of for sure for years and never did anything about. I never sent my work out to be published. I was afraid to do so in a lot of ways, and I just thought with the paintings, it would be too difficult for anybody who don't want to mess with them, this kind of thing, what have you. I won't bore you, but then with technology, digital, this book became a possibility for sure, and I'm just so tickled. I never knew what my book would come out to look like, but I'm really happy with what it did come out to look like. So it's got paintings in there of my poems, and then some drawings that I've done over the years, and then poems that I've written over the years, and it's just in those three sections. They're all kind of chronological, but in no particular order. I mean, some of this stuff I don't even remember writing, to be honest with you, and often they're poems composed just in one sitting. I would just sit down and listen to what was in my head and just puzzle it out until I hit the end, and that would be all I'd look at. In some years I only had maybe one or two things written in the whole year, so there were some years where I really wasn't working on any writing at all. Some pretty down times that way, but it's kind of stuck around and hung around in my life, and I'm just really grateful to have been asked to submit work and for it to end up in this publication. I just couldn't be happier with it, and I hope you folks enjoy it too. So Incunabula, just with the title, that was just kind of fun. Incunabulae are the oldest printed books that we have in Western Civ or whatever. They are from the 1400s, where printing started to be developed, and then was the main invention was movable type by Gutenberg, and that allowed you to print text of great complexity by having movable type. So off you go. That becomes modern books, from 1500 on. So it's just these early books that are called the Incunabula texts, and it's from Latin for swaddling clothes. So they're the infant books. And to me, it just kind of meant like I've got this old stuff that's been kicking around all these years, that I've been dreaming of having published. So it's just like these old documents from the archives, and it was just a real book nerdy kind of title that I had in mind right away, and Gary went with it, and you know, I got to have this diphthong, and I used the feminine plural so that I could have a diphthong and a ligature. Resonates a little with Ezra Pound. He's somebody that features into my, you know, career, whatever that is, you know, over this time period, and so there's, you know, there's lots of that little detail that I was able to put into the book, and it was so much fun to make. I could have done, you know, a lot more, like hands-on or whatever, just because I really geek out on that kind of stuff, but. You know, Gary's a busy guy, and he's got a job and kids, and he does this publishing as a labor of love, totally on the side. And so exchanges were really short and sweet. And anytime I had an assignment pertaining to the book, I was tickled to have it, and you know, and really just enjoyed all the copy editing I did, and we just talked about, you know, the design and typography and just doing corrections and going through proofs and getting it, you know, just looking ship-shape and consistent, cover to cover as best we could. And so really happy with the results. And I hope you guys are too. Anyway, I've probably gone on too long. Again, I'll just say, you know, this is really owing to, of course, you friends out there and your inspiration over the years, and certainly, you know, since this publication became a reality for me. And of course, to my mom and dad, who have just been by my side all this time, and you know, my wonderful kids, and so grateful for them. And last but not least, you know, Gary Anderson. This is my friend who publishes with Run Amok Books. And for those of you who are writers out there, I know Gary would be always looking for you know, unique material. And in particular, I know he's interested in creative nonfiction, memoir, I don't know, cultural criticism, essays, things of this nature. He sort of approached me for that type of stuff. You know, I said don't have, but anyway, so maybe you guys want to get a hold of me or contact Run Amok Books. If you might have a manuscript or stories or essays or things like that kicking around, it could be a publishing opportunity there. I don't know, but anyhow, sure, I'm tickled with the book. It's in paperback. It also is in a hardcover book, which is something I requested because you know, I don't have a lot of poetry books that are hardcover. They're kind of hard to come by, and I really treasure the ones that I do have. And sort of thought, hey, that'd be pretty neat if I could have a hardcover book. I thought, you know, if I never publish anything else, and I hope I do, at least, you know, I'll have this really nice book to give to somebody. And there we are. So I'm going to read a few of these poems, and I haven't carefully considered which ones I should, even though I've been thinking about what I ought to read here tonight for some time. But maybe I'll start with All Springs. All Springs, again, this is an older one. I don't remember. This is maybe from the 90s sometime, but this would be resonant with William Carlos Williams' Spring and All, his book from 1923, that it flows in and out of prose pieces, and some of his absolutely best poems are in that book. Red Wheelbarrow and The Crowd at the Ball Game and On the Way to the Contagious Hospital, and on. Just one of my most favorite poetry books. So All Springs, Spring and All, something about that was going through my mind when I wrote this bit of business here. As thee my eyes wind like china curtains or westerly harp impounded by briar eight, smoke from a tremendous blue tire hies into and under faithful mittens an old Kent, lined with fineries and bland cries, a fur each in a corner and of an idly, wild conundrum if by a molten number is meant an indigenous ten plain. The joy sup finds itself amid in a flowering weed. So many smoking a finch, so many orthotic tomatoes, the hubris to file with pencils due and superfluous egg dishes, the caveat being exceptional genes. Books of snow on a table, of a hat in a wind of burrowing, that is it, in a shrine of most, and a hall without multi-use, an eager way to Floribunda Hill, down the hatch in a piff, sameness which benign implies the map of May, a hand well sandpapered, greets exports with an imported mule. Genuinely bed-like, frothy, but certainly worth it, my hunches in a bunch. should that matter measurably is up to they. Briefly overturned is an opening the size of an elephant's ear, and while it goes like stink, I sense I must pay for its eventual deployment eventually. Guiding cries with a cherry tree for my whip, tucked into the dynamite as would a fat hen. Such an altar divined against itself divides. Every hat begins to dry, anxious for a basic small garden. All Springs. And now I'll go into maybe something a little later. Oh, we'll do this one, GPS. I'm a map fan, and I think there's sort of map motifs that run through this stuff a little bit. And birds, and, I don't know, other things, I guess. So GPS. The kneeling latent pigeons, unlocked, bade farewell. So long, merry grey matters, churlish pets. The time has come to fondly fit the barrels of childish will to the only boat in they can sit. There will be with he enough of penitent steps that to master the high-flown pitch of the auk, or the miserly beaver's plodding bulk toward hanging gardens built to live in sets. Sway above sea shit and land scent of folks, that to oar away is to all. Why, mighty eagles dance completely undisturbed and can see their point. Falling is the fast part. As to survive, come up fish. Finally descending streets manage to untie the horn from dock. Plenty on deck make quick work of talk. Chat hustles subtly to sulk at leaving the clock, and flat-eye note will need wind to carry their these. Hands piratical, splintered and worn and dealt as any crew, certain they aren't mine. Few stand a brine that shakes the under and live to give a damn, but for where it is going, and their head. GPS. Well, how about one more? I'll do one more, and then I think I'll sign off. So this one is called Mythic Bustings, because, I don't know, I watch Mythbusters sometimes. Yeah. Mythic Bustings. I remained calm among special desire. I did not, after all, want to right off say the causal ink had led astray beautiful bats, wandering in and out of shoes. I certain would not say ample, feebly took tongue, nor cheddar wish for more of, as if these to mine ass had clung, sails set to find the chowder monkeys I have lost. It would have to be mine, in turf, gloating where once a pebble squeaked. Was I rarer than the camel-coated friar, besting myself with phony money, the cheap trick standing funny in a rabbit hat, below the 15-ton whale, and here a match to light the way to where we were gale, the hazard happily not mine, gone to shale gas ale? I sigh and say, this blizzard is rather far, and this tugboat eerily green. This chancellor, churlish in a bright green cloak and upset, didn't brush her teeth, some gawk or guffaw. Each too in rivers drop mine eyes for curious. Possibly children are aboard, the night is odd. Then affronting all dear, a coyote, and after, a case of cold beer, deafening the many stars. Mythic Bustings. Well, I think that's all I'm going to read for tonight. I really thank everybody for having a hi hello. And again, my book is Incunabulae, and my website has links to where you can pick up a copy, and that's www.kurtslauson.com. And I hope I catch you again on the flip side. And until then, peace and play nice in the sandbox. Ciao.